Hi, I'm Melanie from Yoga Within. I'm also a senior teacher with the Yoga Association of Alberta. Welcome to our fifth and last session. So today we'll start lying down on our back. So as you come down onto your back, remember that you may find a little blanket or something under your head is helpful. So take time and just grab anything that you might find handy. You can always keep your knees bent if you find your back bothering you. But if you're able to stretch your legs out, just stretch them out. Your hands, they can rest on your belly, or you can leave them out to the side. Just wherever you can start to find ease through the shoulders. Now take a long deep breath in, and a long letting go exhalation. And just feel your body settle. Let your awareness move to your breath. Just watching your breath come and go. There's no need to force your breath. Just let the breath breathe you. The mind begins to slow down. And the body begins to soften. All the thoughts can begin to drift by one, not holding on to thoughts of yesterday, trying not to worry about what lies ahead, but trying your best to be here in the present moment, simply inhaling and simply exhaling. Slowly, your awareness can begin to return. And just start to reintroduce movement to the body. So start to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Start to rotate the wrists and rotate both ankles. And you can move as fast or as slow as you like, but it's always safer to start slower and then see how you're feeling. And if you feel you can move maybe a little faster or larger circles, then by all means do that. Reverse the direction of the circles, just getting some of that dormant energy in our joints moving. Good, let the movement stop, just rest the hands down, bring some movement into the neck, letting the head turn gently from side to side. And then let the head move up and down along the mat like you're nodding. And let the movement stop. Take a deep breath in and just tighten your whole body as tight as you can. Make fists, tighten your glutes, flex your feet. Breathe in and breathe out loudly. Let go. Now if your shoulders allow you to lift your arms up a little higher, lift them up. Otherwise, keep them at your sides. Once more, tighten everything. This time, maybe you want to point your toes and squeeze your toes. Squeeze your eyes, your mouth, and let go. Let your arms slide back down and your knees bend. And just let your knees rock a little bit from side to side. Just really checking in with your foundation, which is everything on the ground. So in this case, your back body. Make sure your chin's tipped slightly down, that you're not overextending at the neck. And just rocking a bit. Roll right to the sides of your feet. Don't try to keep your feet flat. And then bring it back to the center. Lift your feet off the floor. Bring your thighs into your chest. You can hold your shins or the backs of your thighs, especially if you have any knee issues. And you know you can always use a strap around your shins or around the backs of your thighs. And if you don't have a strap, you can use your bathrobe, belt, or anything you might have, an old tie. Your head can be down, or if your neck and shoulders allow, you can lift your shoulders and your head off the floor. Working into your breath, just massaging into the digestive system, working into all those internal organs, letting go of some of those bottled up emotions we hold in the belly area. good. The head can come down and the feet can come down. If your back bothers you, keep your knees bent. Do it with your feet on the floor. If the body allows, extend the legs both out with the toes pointing up. That's good. You'll lift your right foot off the floor, so you'll bend the knee, lift the foot off the floor, and you'll have a 90-degree angle. So knee above hip, knee in line with ankle. And your left arm will go to the floor above your head. If your shoulders are tight, just keep the arm out to a T position instead. Good, and then you'll bring it back down. And you'll bring the left leg up. You'll bring the right arm up, breathing. You'll bring the leg down and the arm back down beside you. Now the modified variation would be both knees bent, lifting the foot up and taking the arm out to the side. Foot down, arm slides down. Other side, left up, right out. Full position, legs straight, right knee bend, left arm up. Coming back down, and opposite side, just allowing the shoulders to warm, the hips to warm, keeping that connection at the center, working that core strength. One more time on each side, making sure your chins just tip gently down, maintaining the natural curve of your spine. That's good. Back down. Pause for a moment here. Let both knees bend. Place both feet on the floor about mat width apart. Lift your hips to adjust your low back if necessary and extend the arms up. Clasping your elbows. Your arms will move to the right. Your knees will drop to the left and you'll roll to the sides of your feet. You'll come back to the center as you breathe in, and you'll drop your knees right and take your arms left. Now your head can stay in the center, or it can turn either direction. Often it feels better going the direction of the arms. Back to the center. Switch again, arms and gaze right, legs to the left, not trying to force anything. And again, just warming up through the hips, getting some movement into the neck, into the upper back. So really nice posture improving exercises. Really nice if you work at a computer all day or hunch over a steering wheel. Or just life in general. We hold a lot of tension in our neck and shoulders. It's a nice way to warm the spine. And when you feel like you've done about an even number on each side, pause at the center. Release the arms down, lift the feet off the floor if you can. Put the palms at the backs of the thighs. Now you can stay here, or you can bring the heels above the knees and clasp your calves. Open the knees wide. This position is called happy baby. You want to make sure the baby is happy and the baby is not straining. You don't want the neck extended. You want a nice natural curve, and you want to breathe into the low belly to help release the back. By bending the elbows, you work the upper body as well. Take one more breath in and one more breath out. You can release, bring the legs together. Now, if you have something under your head, slide it out. If you do have any back or tailbone problems, much safer to put the feet on the floor, roll to the side and help yourself up. Or if there's really no issues in your shoulder, neck, back, no issues in your tissues, you can do what's called a spinal rock, where you're rocking, bringing your toes towards the floor over your head, being sure that you're not using your neck to bring you up and down. Once you get up, you can find your way into a seated position. So just readjust your glutes. And again, remember the importance of these props. They help our body find ease which brings us out of fight or flight and into the relaxation response. So you can sit on the blankets to lift the hips, tilt the pelvis. If you find that you don't need the props, you don't have to use them. Remember, it's your practice and you are in charge. So just rock a bit from side to side, just making that connection to the ground, grounding yourself. And this rocking motion can help. And now from side to side, see if you can go forward and back. Try to keep your chin parallel to the floor. Remember that smiling can help you find some internal lightness. Good, let the movement stop. Just switch what leg is in front. And now bring some circular motion into the body. Okay, see if you can start moving your shoulders as well. Good, breathing, and back to the center, and then reverse it, go the other way. Keep your breath, get your shoulders moving. Your glutes can be evenly connected to the ground, or maybe it's a day where rocking a little bit is what you need. Remember, if you find yourself moving into pain, you need to really change what you're doing. It can be modified, it can be left out. Pain is different than discomfort. Good, bring yourself back to the center, and you can slide your hands down your legs, coming into a gentle forward fold, or you may find that you can go a little deeper. Again, if you find that the glutes are not connected to the ground, you're too far forward, and just back off a little bit. Good, bring yourself back up. Walk your fingers out, lift that left arm up, come into a right side bend. Always remembering that if the shoulder's sore, you keep the hand on the hip or in the low back. Keep the neck in line with the spine, not hanging that heavy head. Working on building some neck strength. Coming back up and moving over to the other side. Same options, flow with your breath. Your breath tells you such an important story, and it's your breath and your story. Good, back up. Once more on each side. And just taking time to notice what you're feeling. And if what you're feeling isn't how you want to feel, remember, you can change it. This whole yoga is meant to be healing. And the only way we heal ourselves if we practice with some kindness and compassion to ourselves. Coming forward again. Good, taking a few breaths in and a few breaths out. And bringing yourself back up. Lift the knees, stretch the legs out, and bounce them out. Rock it out. You can do a few shoulder rolls. So rolling them back, sit up nice and tall. Chin parallel to the floor, and go the other way. Good. Bring the arms forward, bend the knees, tip the torso towards the thighs, coming into a forward fold. You might want to walk the bottom back. Keep the neck in line with the spine as opposed to hanging the head. And it might be a day where you can go a little bit deeper. The straps or whatever you have handy can be used on the legs. The elbows can be bent. Try to have a gentle grip on your strap. Use your breathing. Good. Bring yourself back up. Slide the strap off to the side. Swing your legs over and find your way onto your hands and knees. Now again, if you need any padding under your knees, you can use a blanket. Make sure it's smooth, that it's not bumpy. So smoothen it out. Good, tops of the feet on the floor. Take a few breaths here in this tabletop position. Now just to warm the spine a little bit more, moving into what we call cat-cow. The movement starts in the low back. So you tuck the tail, draw the belly to the spine, round the upper back. This is your exhale. On an inhale, you lift the tail, expand the belly, lift the chest, squeeze the shoulder blade. Exhale, tail tucks, belly draws to spine. Just a gentle chin to chest. Inhale, tail, belly, chest lift, shoulder blades squeeze. Move through a couple of more rounds. Keep in mind when the tail lifts, the belly expands. This is a back bend. You're opening your front body. So we do want to counter stretch it by tucking the tail and rounding. Now tuck your 10 toes, send your bottom back to your heels, and just rock your bottom across the heels here. Always remembering your options. You can take a blanket, place it on your calves. It helps take some compression off the knees. Good, and if you just can't do this, if your body just doesn't allow it, you can go onto your back and bring your thighs into your chest again. Good, bring yourself back up into this tabletop position. The 10 toes are tucked. See if you can just lift your knees a couple of centimeters off the floor. Try not to drop your head, it's a heavy head. Just building some upper body strength, some core strength. Great, then drop the knees down. Send the bottom back to the heels. Lift the arms up, make tight fists. Now remember, if sitting on the heels is too much compression, you can still get the toe torture up here. Good, release the arms. And try that once more. Bottom can be on heels if you like. Really tight, you can lift the arms if that works for you. And then let it go. Give them a nice shake. Coming back into that tabletop position, shoulders, elbows, wrists in line. Knees below the hips. Lift the knees again. Good, breathing. If this is enough, stay here. If you can add on a bit, send the bottom back to the heels. Good, bring yourself back, hips above knees, pause, knees down. Bottom back to heels, option, elbows to the ground, lifting the hands, giving them a shake. Don't let the head drop. Good, we'll do that again. Coming back, tabletop. You may find if your shoulders are really causing you some grief that the hands do need to be a bit wider. Good, knees lift. Natural curve of your spine, so not sticking the bottom out. Good, not hanging the head if possible. Just breathing. Bottom back to heels. Good, now your option is to go back to that child's pose position, or perhaps you can start sending the hips up and back to downward dog. Keep in mind, downward dog is an inversion, so if you have any blood pressure issues, you should come down to child's pose and support your head on your fists. If you are able to stay in downward dog, walk it out. Good, let those shoulders leave the ears, let the neck be long. Don't worry if your heels don't come to the floor, and if your back hurts, bend your knees more, move your legs wider apart. The hips, the weight does not go forward, up and back. Good, bring your knees down. Tops of the feet to the floor. If you are able to open the knees, touch your big toes and drop bottom to heels, do that. But remember the options that you've learned throughout these classes. Neck is long, turn your head. You can always lift the elbows. Now remember the use of props, and it doesn't have to be a fancy wooden block. It can be a book, anything you have at home that you can provide you some stability. Good. And then find your way back to a seated position. We'll try what we tried last time, or one of the times coming up to standing without using our hands. And remember, as my teacher Gerda says, trying is the exercise. So you put your left foot on the floor. You shift the weight forward, press into that foot, come up, pressing into the back foot. Bring yourself back down. Now, if you have walls handy, by all means, use your walls, use a chair. Now you switch, right foot comes out, left under. You shift the weight forward, so the bottom comes up. You press up, you press into the top of the back foot, so you get that nice stretch on that foot. And then you bring yourself back down. And believe me, it takes practice. Do it over and over and over again, a little bit every day, and we start to see change. Now find your way up to standing just however you can. And once you get to standing, go back and forth. from your toes to your heels. Try your best not to stick the bottom out or thrust the pelvis. Keep that connection of top and bottom half. Great. Good, come up on the balls of the feet. Breathing, you can use your hands wherever they give you the most feedback, a little bit of balance. Actually, it's a lot of balance. Lower the heels down, shift back and try to pick your 10 toes up. Try not to stick your bottom out here, just that natural curve. Now, as you go to set your toes down, relax your hands, try not to look down, wiggle your fingers and set your pinky toe, the next toe, the toe beside it, the toe beside the big toe, and then the big toe down. Good. And again, that's something that takes practice. Now, coming to mountain pose where the feet are a comfortable distance, probably about hip width apart, arms at the sides. And we did this earlier, but we were on our backs. So I'll stand sideways. You can always put a hand on a wall or a chair. You shift your weight to your right foot. And if you can only lift the heel off the floor, you can keep the toes on the floor here. Otherwise, the left foot comes up and you're in that half a chair position. Good, and then the right arm comes up. Remember, shoulder issues, arms can be here or hand to hip. Then you can add left arm above the left leg if you're not holding on to something. And you're breathing. Good. In a perfect world, you would want to try your best to hold it, maybe starting to the count of 5, increasing to 10, then to 15, and then maybe even getting to counting to 20. Lower everything back down. Good. Shift the weight now. You can lift the right heel. You can move the foot forward. If you can, you lift the foot off the floor, flex it. Other arm comes up. Hips are even, not hiking the hip. Good, and then you can take the arm out, palm parallel to the floor. Now, if you do have a footstool or a coffee table, you can always rest the foot that's up in the air on that table. Good, use your breathing. See if you can count the same number on this side that you did to the other side. And lower down. Walk it out, so one heel lowers, the other one lifts. Even it out. And we'll try it once more on each side. So left heel can lift. You can move the toes forward or lift up. Right arm comes up. Left palm parallel to the floor. Your point of gaze is just softly looking straight ahead down the tip of the nose. And your gaze is also referred to in yoga as drishti. If you can flex this left foot, flex it. But if you want to try pointing the toes, you could always try that. Breathing, try not to clench the toes of the leg you're standing on. And try your best not to lock that knee. Good, lower down, just pause in your mountain. And then last time, lift that heel, slide the toes forward. Foot can come up, opposite arm up, arm parallel, flexing the foot, hips are even if you can, and just breathing. And just finding a place of focus really does help your balance. These are nice grounding exercises. They are core strengthening, breath work. And release everything down. Find your mountain again. Just pause. And again, back and forth from your toes to your heels. Good. Come up on the balls of the feet. And move yourself up to the front of your mat. Move your feet about hip width apart. Again, if you need a wall, you can use a wall. Soften your knees a little bit. Lift your right heel. And see if you can step your right leg back. Front knee above front heel. Hips pointing straight ahead. Hands on hips. Arms out from the shoulders. Or arms up. What is the best for you? Use your breathing. Your gaze straight ahead down the tip of the nose, not in a back bend. Good. Lower the arms. Straighten the front leg without locking it. Now this is a lot of balance. You turn your feet. You stop at the center. All 10 toes point straight ahead. Bend the knees, rest the elbows on the thighs. Just take care of your back. Halfway is enough if you feel dizzy or have any blood pressure issues. Otherwise, if you want, you can take your pointer and middle fingers and tuck them under those big toes. Bend the elbows. Drop the head down where you can stay, or you can begin to straighten the legs. What would be best for you? The knees bend, palms come to the thighs, face is parallel to the floor, and you press up. Now we'll do the other side. So again, a lot of balance. You turn the other foot out, lift the back heel, and pivot. Both your hips are pointing straight ahead. Now, if you just need to pick your feet up and move them, that's fine. I'm putting my hand on the wall as I bend my front knee, and I do need to wiggle my feet around a bit. Knee above heel, hips pointing straight ahead. Perhaps I can bring my hands to my hips or arms forward, or perhaps today I can bring the arms up. Work with your breath. This is not a back bend, just a high lunge here. Lots of balance, core strength, shoulder, hips. Good. Arms down, hands to hips. You slowly, as you straighten this front leg, the hip draws back. You turn your feet and go into that half forward fold to release the back. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Or if you want, that full forward fold. So point your middle fingers under the big toes, thumbs touch. That's your yoga mudra for knowledge and wisdom. Elbows out, head down, legs. Remember, straight for me is not what's straight for you. So honor yourself. Knees bend, palms to thighs, bringing yourself up and stepping back to our mountain pose. Now today, I thought because it's our last class, we'll move through what's called a sun salutation. So I'll give you modifications as we go through. Find your way to the front of the mat. Find your mountain pose, roughly hip width apart, but wider if your back or hamstrings bother you. Remember the modifications you've learned about not lifting the arms if the shoulders hurt. Good. If you can lift the arms, bring them up. Otherwise, hands to hips. Take a side bend over to the right. Try not to hang your head and just work with your breath. Bring yourself all the way back up and just pause. And bend to the other side. Breathing. Bring yourself all the way back up. Lower your arms slightly, either shoulder height or slightly above. Bend the knees and send the hips back. Now here you may need to step your feet a little wider apart if your back and hamstrings bother you. Remember just the natural curve of your spine. Good. Start lowering. You can pause, palms to thighs. If you can place the hands on the floor, you can always use blocks under the hands and go into a forward fold. Use your breathing. Good. Place your hands on the ground. Bring your knees to the ground. Good. Tuck your 10 toes under. Place your elbows below your shoulders. Take one leg back and take the other leg back and find this half plank position. You also can do it here with the knees on the ground. Use your breathing. Keep breathing. Good. Knees go to the floor. Tops of the feet go to the floor. And you lift your elbows, sending your bottom back towards the heels. No intention to put it on the heels. Good. You bring yourself forward. Press the torso forward. Keep your feet on the floor. So tuck your toes if you need more strength. And lower yourself down onto your belly. Slide your fingertips just below your shoulders and come up into a cobra. Coming up, forehead, nose, chin, chest. The legs are engaged. You do use the glutes, you don't overuse them. You can lift your hands slightly off the floor to make sure you are using your strength. Keep breathing. Hands come down. Lower chest, chin, nose, forehead. Tuck your toes. Press up onto your hands and knees. And send your bottom back towards your heels. Now you can stay here in child's pose if you like, or you can lift your knees, send your hips up and back to downward dog. Remember, you don't want the weight going forward. You really want to try your best to send those hips up and back. My heels will go to the floor, but I don't get a deep stretch there. I do get a deeper stretch if I adjust my legs and let my knees bend. So it's what works for you, not for me. Now you find your way back to a standing half fold or full fold, any way that you can. So any way you can get there. Remember, if you're dizzy, half is perfect. If you can do the full, that's perfect too. It's all about what's right for you. You can walk your palms to your thighs, bend the knees, lift the arms here or hands to hips, and then bring yourself back to this mountain pose. Good, back and forth from your toes to your heels. Reset your foundation. So we'll do it again, and I'll show you some different options. You can always come back to what we did this last time. So from mountain pose, lift the arms if shoulders allow. Bend to the left this time. Breathing, keep the strength in the legs. Now if the neck doesn't bother you, you can look up. Make sure this doesn't go into your back. If you did look up, look straight ahead. Bring yourself back up. And transition to the other side. You can lower your arms at any time if you need to. If neck and shoulders allow, you can turn looking up to the eye of the left elbow. Breathing. If you did look up, look straight ahead. Bring yourself all the way up. Lower your arms slightly, bend the knees, send the hips back. Now, if your body allows, you can have the knees and feet right together, but remember, back and hamstrings equal distance apart. If you feel your back, you need to change it. Use your breathing. Here you can do the pause halfway by putting the elbows to the thighs, or you can fold the body fully forward. Let the neck turn, keep it relaxed, keep breathing. Now last time we stepped back onto our hands and knees and went to half plank. You can do that, or if you prefer, you step one leg back and the other leg back, and you find yourself in full plank. Keep in mind, if you're sagging in the belly or if your bottom's up, you're trying to build that strength, just like a plank, straight line, just the natural curve of your spine. You can do this modified with the knees down if you do feel the back. Very important. Good, breathing here. Knees come down. Body comes down. Tops of the feet to the floor. Coming to the cobra, forehead, nose, chin, chest. Lifting up, keep all 10 toes in the ground. Shoulder blades squeeze lightly. You can lift the hands. You can stay in this baby cobra, or you can place the hands down, draw the torso through, and bring yourself up. Pubic bone and hip bones are on the ground. Chest lifts, neck smooth. Your breath tells you your story. Don't hold your breath. Good, to come down, you extend forward, ribs, chest, Chin, nose, forehead, you pause. Tuck your 10 toes, press yourself up. You can go back to child's pose if you like and stay there, or you can lift the knees, send the hips up and back to downward dog. Make sure your neck is relaxed. Don't close your eyes if you feel dizzy, but I mean, they are your eyes, so if that's what you need to do. Just remember though that it can make you dizzy in an inversion to have your eyes closed. Good, you find your way back to a standing full fold or half fold. What's better for you? You can hold your elbows, you might want to sway a bit, or you might be content where you are. You can bend the knees, come up like this, or you can come up the way we did last time. Release the arms down and just pause, that pause to check in. How am I feeling? Now, if you know a squat is not good in your body, especially if it's balance or hips or anything like that, just come down to a seated position the way that's best for you. But if you can, lift the arms shoulder height, lift the heels, and come down through a squat. Give it a try. Good. If you're already sitting, stay where you are. But if you're in the squat, maybe you can bring yourself back up. You never know unless you try. Then bring yourself back down. And perhaps you can go from your toes to your heels to your bottom. Now, if you're already sitting, just put yourself in this position. You can bring your hands to the backs of your thighs, stretch your spine up. If your body allows, you can walk the heels in, wrap your arms around your legs, and stretch yourself up here. You can let the chin drop down, just lengthening into the neck. And check in with your breath once more. Good, lift the gaze up. Stretch the legs out. Keep the knees bent, heels on the ground. Here again, remember either your block or your blanket, or lift the hips, tilt the pelvis, and come into whatever variation of a forward fold you would like. Breathing. And maybe the forward fold changes, and maybe it takes 40 years to change. Mine did. Good, bring yourself back up, bounce it out. Now we will return to our back once more, so again, if you know that you would benefit by having something under your head, by all means, you can come down onto your back just any way you want to. Good, and it might be a moment to just let the knees sway a bit, checking in with the back. And then bringing the thighs up into the chest. So we did this just previously in a seated position. And again, knees and feet could be together, they could be apart. You could hold the backs of the knees if that gives you more support, if your knees bother you. And you can always peel yourself up if that feels better. Good, keep breathing. Head comes down, arms open to a T position and shoulders rotate, bringing the palms down. Now, if this is not comfortable for you to do, the variation you can do is with your feet on the floor, dropping your knees, especially if your back bothers you. Otherwise, you have the thighs in at the chest. You let both knees drop to the right. The right hand can come up to the top leg, and your head can turn in either direction. Back arm can be up or down, or even the hand can rest on the side body. Head can turn whatever direction is beneficial. You open the arms back up again so you can use them for traction as you come back to the center. Now, some of you may find that it's too strenuous to have your legs together, perhaps on your back or your hips, so you might need a block or a cushion between the knees. The knees go over to the left. Perhaps the hips are one above the other. The back arm up down, higher, elbow bent, or perhaps the hand just rests on the side body. Use your breathing. See if you can bring yourself back to the center. If you do have something between your knees, place it down. Keep your right thigh in at the chest and extend the left leg, and if that hurts your back, you keep the knee bent. Try to let that hip soften, and just take a few breaths here. Again, great for digestion, for letting go of all those emotions we bottle up in the belly area. But a nice release for hips, low back, and shoulders. Good, you can switch sides, using your breath. And repeat it once more to each side, just checking in. If you feel you want to add on, you can always bring the torso up. Try not to shift your weight. Good. You can always interlace your fingers the opposite way. Keep both feet active. Good. Finish with both thighs in. You may want to have the hands just rest on the shin and open the knees and feet wide. Bring them together. Maybe a breath in and a breath out once more, letting the low back settle. Chin tucked slightly, just that natural curve. Just slowing it down as we start our preparation for Shavasana. Pausing here. You can place the feet down on the ground. You can keep the knees bent, or you can stretch yourself out. You may need to bring the hands to the head, just lift the head, tip the chin a bit for the neck. Take the arms wherever it feels best. Take a breath in, tighten everything up. Exhale, just let it go. Find that place where you can bring some ease into the body. If you prefer your hands on the belly, or one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Wherever feels best for you, just to reconnect with yourself. Slow, even, long, full breath. Body softens. The mind just rides the waves of the breath. All the expectations we place on ourselves, we try to let them go. Breath by breath, the relaxation moves gently within us. The mind rests within that soft, white lighted heart center. We breathe in, we breathe out. We let go. Slowly awareness begins to return, and gentle movement finds its way back into the body, just moving fingers and toes, perhaps bending the knees, and just letting them rock a moment as you just check in, see how you're feeling. may want to roll yourself over onto one side, just taking a breath or two, slowly transitioning back to your day. Remember, you can take the kindness that you show yourself on your mat out there into your daily lives. Help yourself back up to a seated position. Remember to use your props if you need them. Gather up all the positive energy that you can. Bring all that positive energy into your heart. And take a moment just to bow your head to your own heart in gratitude for all that you have, for all that you don't have, and for yourself, for just the gift of time you've taken for you today. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your practice with me. Namaste. The light in me bows to the light in you. Have a good day.